Now, he says that PlayStation is never going to release games on Xbox, and that makes sense. His full quote reads, "So the question you're asking is, should PlayStation, with that huge market lead and the momentum apparently going forward, should they build versions of their games to run on competing platform of much smaller size and scale?" And the saying goes, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. He's absolutely right. And Xbox has already said, you know what? The juice is worth the squeeze for us. We're going to release some of these games experimentally on the PlayStation, and I think they're going to continue to do so. And you know what I think they're going to do? Further down the road, I think they take down the barriers altogether, make a console similar to Windows, and allow more storefronts to be installed on that system in a way that's familiar to console users. And that means PlayStation games on Xbox. I do think Xbox will Trojan horse in PlayStation games into their ecosystem.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today, yes, we got your next dose of the salty batch files right here, and in this theme of things, it's mostly going to be about Sarah Bond, her idea of Xbox being everywhere, and how the fanboys are reacting to this. If they placing the blame on Sarah, are they not placing any blame on Phil, all that stuff there. So this is going to be a little more centric towards that, but a lot of good salt here. The fanboys cannot handle it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we're going to do is get right to the salt here. Again, this is in regards to Sarah Bond, her stating that this is basically the plan, the future of Xbox, being able to play Xbox games anywhere, everywhere, everything is kind of an Xbox, so to speak. So let's share our first post here. This is coming from Hazador Gaming, of course. Just a quick context, reading it here. According to Tom Warren, Notepad, Microsoft, Sarah Bond has staked her professional reputation on the idea of Xbox being everywhere across multiple platforms and devices. Quoted, keen on spreading the Xbox everywhere message. Now, let's see the fallout of this. Do we think it's going to be normal? It's not, as you can see here. Just a simple statement from Craig Jenkins here. So she's to blame for all this stupidity. No, I doubt that Sarah Bond just came into her position under Phil, where Phil got promoted somehow, being Phil is Phil. And she didn't get all this emotion, especially that quick. If you know how businesses work, if you know how corporations work, this isn't just a procedure, a document, a quick policy update. This is a major shift in the corporation. So if your two brain cells can't fire off between one another, that is a problem on your end there. But no, Sarah Bond is not fully to blame here. She's going to go along with the ride. She's also going to be told kind of what to do. She's going to have some say, all that stuff there. But no, she's not to blame for all the stupidity. You can blame mostly Phil Spencer and the company surrounding him as well. But let's keep going from there. In the same context here, right? Cam Moses, of course the DEI hire ruined Xbox. She didn't even earn her position. So now we're getting down to the dumbification, if that's a word, down to what people are feeling and thinking in regards to this. So now we're accusing DEI is why Sarah Bond got hired for this role, got promoted for it. Not the fact that she's been with the company for a while, probably tailored to get up there. Again, newsflash, in a company in business, that's kind of how a lot of it works. I mean, I've been in companies where you have third-party vendors and other people kind of work with the company. They get hired in, and sometimes they don't even necessarily have certain experience in regards to a position, but they're there to be a leader, to be a role changer, to change the aspect of the company to a point. But again, they're going to be aligned, like I said before. They're on a leash. They're on a leash. They can only do so much. A lot of us, including myself, knew that Sarah Bond being the face of this now, whatever Phil Spencer did, she was going to get the brunt of the stick here in regards to what's going on, unfortunately. But again, didn't even earn her position. So, if they didn't earn their position, what do you think happened? Let's just assume all the negative and horrible things, right? How ridiculous is that? They're that upset about this company, this brand, what they're doing, what they have been doing, that now they're placing the blame on all sorts of things. They place it on anything in regards to position, DEI, whatever the case is. They're not doing good in terms of things here, but we're going to keep going here because we're not done. They're very, very upset still. Literal Mind 9191, the woman who is destroying Xbox. You're right, because Phil Spencer and company didn't do anything at all. They were trying to do the right thing, and then all of a sudden Sarah came in and within a few short months was like, hey, let's change this all up. Let's change it all up. And I'll tell you what, let's just assume for positive intent here, Sarah Bond did come in and say all this, and she could do all this, right? Well, again, that bed was made. Game Pass, hardware's not selling, software's not selling. We put all our eggs in one basket for Game Pass itself. What direction would they have then to make everything an Xbox, including that pregnancy test itself, right? Obviously, you can't play Game Pass on that, but you get the drift, right? It's just one person destroying it. It takes a team to destroy stuff. So not even Phil Spencer himself is fully to blame. Anybody surrounding that circle is to blame, didn't speak up, didn't do this, didn't do that. Whoever maybe gave Phil a little too much power. I think they panic pushed back from the Xbox One, personally, that generation, in regards to what happened with that fiasco, Don Matrick, how that went down in a dumpster fire of flames. That's kind of what happened, really. And they panic pushed and said, well, Phil's a gamer, he plays, he knows, he's been around for quite a few years, let's just throw him in there without doing the research. But that's kind of how Microsoft works sometimes, with putting figureheads and such in front of everything, right? Without doing their due diligence here. But again, I don't dislike Phil. He certainly is a small used car salesman, is that persona you get from him, a snake oil salesman, if you will, as well. And it's just been that way. At first, I trusted him as well. I believed in him, like, hey, he's going to change. He's doing this and this and this. We all see the direction, right? We all seen the direction that he probably wanted to go, and it didn't happen. And he didn't execute appropriately, and it's just a snowball effect, and here we are. But let's continue here. Now, Jordan's really not having a good time here, by the way. He states, per the translation from Google here, of course, so she is also the one who says we need to put games on PlayStation. It was happening before that, but please go on. It is time to fire her too. It is time to fire the entire current management. Bunch of clown emojis throughout this whole thing, right? But at least he admits it's the whole management that needs to be fired. I don't think Sarah Bond's doing anything incorrectly here. She's doing what she can do personally, is what I think. What are you going to do when you put in that position? You get hired, you apply, you get promoted, maybe, who knows how that all transpired behind the scenes, but ultimately, you can only do what you can do when you're put in that position, right? The consoles Xbox are in full syncing, and this is only the beginning, given the direction of the brand is taking. This is not only the beginning was a while ago, and that's what a lot of the fanboys and shills don't understand, because they sit there and follow Boomstick, they follow Colt, they follow J-Rock, wherever they get their information from. And you play in that delusional world, you play in that delusional playground, and you pull the wool over your own eyes at times. I mean, you do it to yourselves. And when you do that, you're not accepting the truth, but this is not the beginning. The beginning has happened quite some time ago. The fact that you didn't understand that is exactly why we're here today. This is why I do what I do. These guys are salty. You're salty. Everybody's salty in regards to the direction of Xbox. Not one Xbox fanboy is like, yay, games everywhere. Our exclusive ecosystem is now going to be available everywhere, and our exclusive games are going to be available on competing platforms. Hooray, that's great. No, not one person did that. But again, the writing's on the wall way before now, buddy. Way before now. But let's go here. We got Sir Snipey here. I swear her and Phil Spencer are battling out for who can ruin Xbox the most. Again, you see all the blame. It's just like, always have to include Sarah Bond. What is she going to do in her position and undermine Phil? Phil is now in a position that he oversees everything. He's not going to change anything. He's still mostly the figurehead. He's still on all these podcasts. He's on all these interviews. He's clearly pulling the strings here. Ultimately, he has the final say in everything. But, Phil has been the one. He's the figurehead. You can blame Don Matrick and stuff all you want. There's some bad decision making, but the prime of it was, I think Don Matrick did what he could do at the time as well. And who knows where that Kinect stuff was going for. Who knows all that in one entertainment system. I mean, that was somebody's idea way back when. I don't think that was fully Don Matrick's idea. Now we're seeing that come to life, so to speak. Again, it's an all-in-one entertainment system, but in this case, it's not just a box, that all-in-one encompassing rental service everywhere. And it's kind of expanded, it's kind of shifted because times change, people change, stuff like that. But I don't think that message, if you pay close attention, pay close attention to when the Xbox One generation started, there's a lot of similarities with that and where we're at now. And there was plenty of time to course correct and change things and not go in the direction of Game Pass. And people, I think, hit that panic button, and then there we went. That's ultimately what happened. And then the rest has been told, right? Well, let's keep going here. So again, J-Rock. I mentioned J-Rock earlier. He's here. He feeds the fire. He puts more fuel on the fire. Here we see next Xbox showcase. And yes, this is an Xbox Sarah Bond. So the fact is, he's feeding into this, right? He's playing into it. Yes, it's all Sarah Bond. Nothing in regards to Phil Spencer. Nothing in regards to anything else. Obviously, probably trying to troll and have a little bit of fun with this. But again, people take your word for granted, or don't take it for granted. They take it verbatim, and that's what they go with this here. And, you know, I would like to say this is more trolling and having fun, but he truly loves to stir that pot. A little more seriously than we give or take, but he is a fake gamer. He's been ousted many times. He just does it for the clout. But ultimately, you know, you keep putting that in, you shoehorn it in. That's the direction it's at. That's where it's taking itself here. So it's unfortunate to see this. Again, large follower accounts, they continue to do it. People believe it. People get more mad. They focus that hate towards Sarah herself, and that's truly unfortunate. So you got these scumbags, these gremlins themselves, right, doing that as well. But let's keep going here. So, as Sarah Bond states here at Xbox, you know, this is more context, right? We want to offer players more choice on how and where they play, including being able to play and buy games directly from the Xbox app. I recently shared our ambition to unlock the features first with the Google Play Store on Android services or devices in the US, while on other apps and stuff like that. And that's what they were trying to do. Now there's just some sort of legal battle going on there. We won't get into it in this video right now and break that down, but Smith, say that 10 times fast, you went ahead and destroyed the Xbox brand and customer trust. Again, it's not just Sarah Bond, right? On your own reputation at Microsoft, we all thought Phil, Xbox P3, tagging him, and Satya were the ones to blame, but your legacy will be how you all destroyed the Xbox brand. Pathetic excuse for a gaming company. Again, it writes itself. It's a full circle. We can go all the way back in the beginning. The player base, the shills, the frauds, whatever you want to call them, the Colt Eastwoods, the everybody in between in that circle, right? In that lane, however you want to describe it. They've all done this through it cumulative, right? If you lie, you spread misinformation, you pretend that everything's okay. It's not. So how is the fan base that do care, the fan bases that do care within Xbox and its ecosystem, the hardware, whatever piece of that you want to break down, what are they supposed to do? I mean, everybody is accountable, right? Everybody's accountable for themselves. We can all look for information, but it's all who you follow, all who you trust, who's lying to you, who's spreading that misinformation. And I said time and time again, that will ultimately hurt the brand in the long run. You cannot do that. And this is an accumulation of all these years. Well over 10 years of lying, misinformation, whatever the case is. They keep piling and piling and piling, and eventually it's going to give way. And this is the direction they had to shift and pivot. Now it's in conjunction again with all of that I said, the misinformation, yada yada, for all those years, but also because of Game Pass. So you mix that, you throw in Game Pass as that other secret ingredient, and there you have a recipe for disaster as far as staying as a competing platform in regards to hardware. I think Xbox will be more than fine, but they are going to be third party. It is leaning more and more as the days go on, more and more third party. Can you imagine, just a quick breakdown, how well that Indiana Jones was received across the board from critics and stuff like that, and some of the fans already from early access and whatever, it got really great reviews. Can you imagine if they stuck true to these games, gave it time, actually followed up with the development, had these exclusive to the ecosystem, and you can still have it day one on PC. I still think that hurts. I think you should wait, you know, at least a year down the line, but at that point, it's too little too late, right? But can you imagine they start putting out these bangers after bangers, right? Games, and starts doing that. You can make a case to stay strong as a competing platform in the industry. But again, that recipe, the whole pot, just has been stirred, put together. Now it's ready to come out, and this is the result. Simple, folks, simple. Now, let's keep going here. One more. So this was in Tom Warren's, the context again. Microsoft, Google are fighting over the future of Xbox. The particular argument is a key one for Microsoft as it doubles down on this as an Xbox and bringing Xbox everywhere. This week's notepad is live for Verge subscribers, and now you have to, subscribe and pay for that. So Jesus here. So it was Sarah Bond who killed Xbox, not Phil Spencer. Wow, and people called him a liar. Makes sense since she was brought in to help Game Pass subscription sales. Phil must have fought hard back since he had to change his messaging every other month. Now we're in game. Can't believe Sarah destroying Xbox brand and console. This was saved for the last because this is the most pitiful piece of a response here. This is how taken away they are from the whole situation. They don't understand anything at all. So now Phil was never the liar. Sarah just got in here months ago. Just got in that position months ago. And again, it takes time to change things in a company or whatever the case is. And again, Phil's up there, stronghold, up there, pulling the strings, calling the shots. No, Phil was the liar all along. He still is. He knew what he was doing. He knew he was going to put Sarah in front of everything and she was going to get the brunt of things. That's as simple as I can state it. Black and white. It's really pathetic that people actually think that. And now they're back to Phil's great and all this stuff. He hasn't done anything, guys. He hasn't done anything. All he did was give you Game Pass, and look where that has gotten you. And some of you are still like, it's the best value in gaming and all this. Like, keep doing that. Keep doing that. Because ultimately, it's not benefiting you in the long run. If you're super casual and you don't care about owning games and you don't care about this and that, good job. But for those that do care, this is a big deal. A huge deal. So, let's get down to our last post here, folks. What we have here is Jeff Keighley just simply stating, because it is a big milestone, right? PlayStation had its 30-year anniversary of being created from the PS1 days, all that stuff. We know how that history came to be. If you haven't, look it up. I think it's super fascinating. I can go into that in more detail if you guys ever want to see that. I would love to cover that. But I still remember first trying PS1 at E3 1995, the first ever E3, and playing Ridge Racer at the party right after Michael Jackson. Pretty cool memory in my opinion. I mean, I would never be able to probably pull that piece of history off in my life. Would be super cool, never say never, right? But that's really a cool memory. So, core memory unlocked, right? But of course, we can't leave well enough alone because the Catfish, aka Joseph Cruz, aka Andrea Piccinini, rebranded as Extension, is back. We're here. And they just state, oh, we know, ... and crops a bunch of pieces that Jeff Keighley is just stating about PlayStation, saying when this is a PS5 Pro. PS5 Pro arrives November. First 4K images of the Pro. A lot of that, right? Talking about the Pro in general. Talking about sales, talking about key features on the Pro. Do we see how salty this is? Out of nowhere, they just have to incorporate themselves in there. He's made, like, he covers everything Xbox, he covers Nintendo, he covers PlayStation, he covers gaming. He loves gaming. More above anything else, he loves Hideo Kojima. They're great friends. If you're going to say he's a fanboy of something, you can say he's a fanboy of Hideo Kojima, and rightfully so. The guy's a genius. However, that being said, this is got to be one of the saltiest posts I've ever seen in quite some time, and leave it to the Catfish themselves to pull it out of left field here, because that's just what they do. Just coming out of nowhere, super upset. Yes, because Jeff Keighley has a completely hardcore impact on PlayStation. That's why they're successful. And he's just a PlayStation fanboy because that's what they do. I love when he fires back every once in a while, though, and puts them in their place because he does it quite often. Makes them look like the clowns they are. But just wanted to share that one to end up the video here. So enjoy that. Save that for a good laugh if you need to. in the future. It always does me. So that being said, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. I really appreciate everybody's support as always. Every like, comment, I do love to see that. Love to interact with y'all. Of course, that also helps out the algorithm. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. And of course, at the end of the day, just remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.